Hello, everyone. Looks like we have just about all of our participants here, so I'll get us started. I'm Wayne Cunningham with Sui Foundation, and welcome to our X Space. Today, we're discussing a new program called ThinkSui, which rewards people for creating apps, content, and NFTs on and about Sui. Finding community online can be difficult. There are multitudes of platforms from Reddit to Meetup to Facebook, and even more subject areas. Unlike, say, cars or photography, Sui is a very new domain with a community that has only recently evolved. ThinkSui helps people take the lead in growing the Sui community by opening up paths for a variety of skill sets. Anybody can join in. Joining me today are Daniel and Martin from Thrive, ThinkSui's platform, Bryan from NFT market Hyperspace, and Sae-Von from Mysten Labs. Morning, everybody. Let's begin with introductions. So why don't we start off with you, Bryan? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, Bryan from Hyperspacexyz here, probably the most doxed person in all of Web3. We happily run a marketplace on the Sui network, launched with them back in mainnet around May of 2023. I've been here ever since. I'm super happy to be a contributor in this ThinkSui effort. I'm looking forward to leading some charges on the NFT front.
Thank you, Bryan. Martin, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, sir. I am Martin. I am head of customer success at Thrive, and I'm talking from the Lexicon account. This is my personal account. My CEO, Daniel, will be speaking from the Thrive account, which you see just hearted. And we're super excited to be here. We've been working tirelessly with Sui and a number of esteemed members of the Sui community to get ThinkSui off the ground. We're super excited to be sharing all the work we've done and all the great stuff that's going to be happening with ThinkSui over the next 3 months.
Thanks, Martin. And Daniel, do you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Daniel, co-founder of Thrive and Thrive Protocol, and we provide rewards infrastructure for all kinds of top chains and ecosystems in the space. We are big fans of Sui, big fans of your commitment to NFT gaming, the future culture in Web3, and really excited to be here.
Thank you, Daniel. And Sae-Von, do you want to give us an introduction about yourself?
For sure. Thank you, Wayne. Great day, everybody. Great evening, wherever y'all are at. Sae-Von, I help lead the post-signing partnerships for the commerce vertical in Mysten Labs, and am really excited, grateful that we have Thrive supporting us with this ThinkSui initiative. I know, we really have been working and figuring out ways we can really inject some nitric oxide into the culture side of our community. And this is just one of those initiatives. So really hyped to be getting started.
Thanks, Sae-Von. So let's get into it. Daniel, can you tell us what is ThinkSui?
Yeah, sure. So ThinkSui has been a collaboration of Thrive, Mysten, the Sui Foundation, and a few of the OGs in the Sui ecosystem around a very simple idea, which is that Sui community members deserve to be rewarded for the contributions that you make to the community. And we believe that when that happens, the impact is going to be greater opportunity for you, greater opportunity for the builder and content creator community in general, and obviously for our Sui ecosystem. And the background on this thing is that a few months ago, Thrive shared a somewhat brash idea with Mysten Labs and the Sui Foundation around how we can fund truly valuable contributions to this community, and do so with the support of some unique technology that we developed with Thrive and the Thrive Protocol. And Mysten Labs got excited. The Sae-Von, thank you, by the way. The Sui Foundation got excited. And together, we evolved and co-created a plan until we were all so excited that we said, gosh, we got to make this happen. And now it's here. And as of today, ThinkSui is live, and you can be rewarded from a pool of $720,000 worth of Sui over the next 3 months to create value for Sui, for your community, and obviously for yourself as well.
Thanks, Daniel. You mentioned valuable contributions. Can you describe what ways people can engage with ThinkSui?
Yeah, of course. So the most important thing is to get started and get connected, all you have to do is go to ThinkSui.com and connect your wallet. And there you're going to see 3 general paths through which you can contribute value to Sui. And the 3 paths are community paths, so for anybody, a builder path, and an influencer path. And when you complete any of the contributions in the paths, you're going to be rewarded with Sui. It'll be attested to on the Sui chain, and you'll unlock more and more opportunities to contribute real value and be rewarded. And the contributions range from super easy to more complex and really valuable contributions. And as you check back over the next couple of weeks, you're going to notice that we're going to continuously add more and more ways to contribute. But I want to give you some specific examples. In the community path, you can be rewarded for doing things like attending this ThinkSui kickoff X space and reposting the secret X posts that I think you're going to hear about later. You can also be rewarded for reposting or quote posting at ThinkSui's program. And you can be rewarded in the builder and content creator paths for submitting a project idea. You're going to hear more about what this is and the steps to do this later. For submitting a project idea and having it accepted, you'll be rewarded more when you complete that project, even more when you achieve critical milestones connected to your project, and even more if you win a Best of ThinkSui award. And also remember that there are going to be more and more ways for you to contribute value each week. So it'll be meaningful to continue to check back.
So I want to circle back to the Best of ThinkSui award in a minute, but first, you've got a lot of experience in building up communities through the Thrive platform. Can you describe what these individual people that might follow the different paths are like? What would you expect of a builder, community, influencer? What kind of people are these?
Yeah, absolutely. So builder path, that tends to be for engineers, people who, want to build on Sui chain, who want to create value as an engineer. And, we have seen and built out paths for engineers and other ecosystems and had a lot of success doing it. Influencer paths, is for people who want to talk about all the value that Sui chain is creating. And you can, by the way, in the influencer path, talk about all the crazy projects that builders are going to be building soon as well. And the community path is for anybody. If you are enjoying any valuable projects across the Sui ecosystem, there's going to be opportunities for you to contribute and to earn.
Thanks, Daniel. I want to circle over to Bryan here, who's the expert in NFTs. I understand NFTs is one pathway to engage with the ThinkSui platform. So, Bryan, can you talk about how someone creates a really impactful or desirable NFT?
Yeah. So I think that Sui itself is a tech enabler of enforcing the right practices behind NFT communities and to make sure that NFTs are implemented in the correct and right way, ranging from DNFTs all the way to DK sign DK login, which I think really embraces not only Web3 ethos, but also Web2 mass immersion. And I would say that in the past 3 years of the Hyperspace platform being live across multiple chains, we've seen a fair share of both malicious practices in integrating NFTs and also very beneficial community-driven, value-add, utility-based NFTs. And I think Sui has done a pretty good job of making sure that the right types of NFTs and communities are empowered and enhanced by the ecosystem. And I think it's no different for ThinkSui, which is looking to really weed out the correct projects for being center stage of this ecosystem and being the right top-line funnel. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the right projects serve as not only champions of Sui itself, but also an ambassador for non-Sui folks and even non-Web3 folks to engage. Because ultimately, I think this incentive program is really designed to get conversations and dialogue going. And for that to happen, we need healthy players to come in.
And Bryan, could you talk a little bit about what an NFT that is successful in the ThinkSui program, that is successful on Sui might look like?
Sorry, what a successful project on Sui might look like?
Yeah, what what the images might be, or the Canva components.
Yeah. I think that not to overstretch on the dynamic components, which I think certainly that Sui Foundation and Sui as a network is really pushing. Furthermore, I think we still lack a champion that really showcases each thing. A lot of times, NFTs are a approachable and a fun companion to people's internet journeys, specifically their Web3 journeys, and you want kind of a guide to help showcase and administer you through this Web3 lifestyle. And I think right now there are set places pieces in play that allow you to partake in the Web3 ecosystem, but not necessarily a single product that is good at integrating the various technologies that Sui has been producing. So the art, of course, matters, and I think I can give you quote unquote early adopter or degen advice on making sure that it's a replicable, relatively humanoid thing that people can relate to. But furthermore, I would encourage the projects to integrate such technologies so that it is a soft landing mechanism for people to understand sweet tech and find value in it.
So what I'm hearing is along with you have killer apps in other spaces. If we had a killer NFT, that could really make a huge impact. I want to broaden this a little bit. Go to Sae-Von here to speak about how a project in the big picture, like ThinkSui, can bring new users to Sui or help reinforce the community.
Hey, thank you, Wayne. So I think to really be blunt, right? People have been asking me to be a bit more blunt, so I'm happy to oblige. Up to this point in time, if you're a community member that's a part of the Sui ecosystem, and you're really focused on NFTs or just other aspects of the culture, the art, the community, so on and so forth, and you look around, there wasn't a lot of overt support in the early days. At least that's the feedback that I've gotten, and I wouldn't disagree with it. And as time has gone on, we've seen a lot of love and attention going to the gaming side of the ecosystem, and especially more recently, the DeFi side of the ecosystem. Now, what I want to address here is that's absolutely, on point. The thing to really bear in mind is that when you look at a network, there's a really good book thesis by Balaji, and he talks about this idea of a network state. And to really reduce it down, I've not read the book, but I've listened to many hours of him speaking on this. It's this idea that when you really spin up a network, these things are like their own nation states. They're like countries. And so if you're thinking about that, Sui is its own country. It's its own planet, its own world. And within that, there are certain components that you need in place to allow everything else to thrive, right? No pun intended, or maybe. And one of those things, quite frankly, is liquidity. Because liquidity is really what allows people to have confidence that when they come in and they're setting up any sort of business or art or any sort of weird activity, engagement, that there is going to be the ability for people to transact and exchange value in a seamless and frictionless way. And so as a first principle, you have to have liquidity in an ecosystem for there to be commerce, for there to be exchange, for there to be a blossoming of arts and culture, because those things really only exist if the other part is healthy. So if you are someone who checks DeFi Llama on a regular basis, I think it is safe to say that the network now has some strong liquidity. So that being said, now we're able to more confidently put the energy and the resources behind the other part of the equation, which is really the humanity, the feeling, the emotion, the love, the community, the culture. Because at the same time, you'll be hard pressed to find any nation state, any country, any world that is successful, that is vibrant, that lacks a strong, robust culture component to it. And so really that's what was the impetus of this ThinkSui campaign, was how do we really, in a coordinated fashion, but a distributed fashion, engage and reward people for really doubling down and helping the NFT ecosystem blossom and flourish and helping push the culture and helping push the community in a way that signals to those people that those contributions are valuable and that we want more and more and more of those sort of contributions.
Yeah, and when you talk about liquidity, obviously you were talking about the token Sui. But I mean, there's an idea of social liquidity too. People get, accolades from friends or admirers because of the things they post. Can you speak a little about social liquidity?
That's an interesting point you bring up. The point, how I'm thinking about that is simply the fact that people need to know, the community needs to know that we give a fuck about the things that are not DeFi, that are not gaming, and that we want this community that is strong right now. We want that to grow. We want that to flourish. And we simply found this to be one of the more elegant solutions to be able to signal that and very concretely reward that, because ultimately people behave off of incentives. And if people are not incentivized properly and let it be known that what they have been doing, what they are doing, what they want to do is valuable, then it is far less likely that you will get more of that behavior. And there are some OGs who've been here from day one before the recent hype kind of kicked off and the spotlight really got on Sui. That stuff is valuable, right? But when they were doing that building in the early days, it may not have felt like it was valuable. And so, quite frankly, we have some work to do to fix that legacy issue, but we're actively in the process of doing that. And I think that this program is less about people necessarily overtly looking for a way to show that they are a part of the community in a way of like, hey, give me an accolade for being a part of this community. It's more so saying, hey, we recognize that we need to spread the love around and really clearly communicate, hey, everything you're doing in these areas, the NFTs, the culture, the community, the memes, the meetups, the spaces, all of these different things are worthwhile, and we value that. And this is a concerted effort to systematize the process of being able to distribute those sort of incentives and get those folks re-engaged.
Yeah, that's a great point. And yeah, you took the idea of social liquidity away from just accolades and the love, people doing it for their appreciation of the platform too. And
this space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
I've sort of ThinkSui program actually links social liquidity and actual liquidity. So that's interesting. I want to go to Daniel here to talk about the Thrive platform in general, because the Thrive platform existed before ThinkSui. So Daniel, you describe what the Thrive platform is all about.
Sure, yeah. So Thrive makes it easy for people to contribute truly valuable contributions to the Sui community and to be rewarded for it. And we have 3 capabilities that make that possible. The first of which is really unique and interesting, which is that we can validate truly valuable contributions. And we can do it through an auto-validation capability and through something that we call human validations. And what that allows us to do is if you make contributions across platforms or protocols where the Sui community lives, we can actually track and validate that. And that then lets us reward you for the contributions that you make to the Sui community. And it allows us to attest on the Sui chain that those contributions were actually made. And for you to take advantage of these capabilities, it's pretty straightforward. So you can see us in action at ThinkSui.com. All you have to do to kind of get started is connect your wallet. And there's some very easy contributions that can get you kickstarted. Like you can actually earn today. And then if you scroll down, you'll see all the different contributions that you can make. And you'll notice that right above scrolling down, you'll see some tags. And so if you click on any of those tags, you'll be able to see the builder contributions, the influencer contributions, and so on and so forth. And so once you make those contributions in the future, we'll be able to reward you either through auto or human validation. And then again, that'll be attested to on chain. Additionally, on the platform, you'll be able to see a leaderboard as well as sort of a scrolling feed of all of the contributions that you or others have made. And if you want to click through to any contributor, you can see the contributions that they've made to Sui, again, across platforms and across protocols. So long story short, Thrive, again, we make it really easy for you to contribute truly valuable contributions across all kinds of platforms and protocols, be rewarded for the contributions that you make, and grow as a member and hopefully a long-term member of the Sui community.
And Daniel, you've run different programs on Thrive before ThinkSui. Can you describe some examples of success you've had previously?
Sure. So we support really large ecosystems. We support ApeCoin at scale. We support Arbitrum at scale. We support Optimism and others. And it's been a lot of fun and extremely meaningful to connect deeply with these communities, get a sense for what they're about, be a part of them, and create immense amounts of value. I guess I'll give you an example. I'll use ApeCoin as an example because they're a fun one. And because ApeCoin just recently voted to renew the 1-year initiative that we had with them, and I feel a lot of gratitude. They voted, I think, like 25 million votes to 2.8 million votes, like overwhelmingly voted to allocate an enormous amount more ApeCoin to us than they had the previous year. And the reason for that was that we were overwhelmingly the most efficient way in which funds were allocated to the DAO and in which community members could participate in creating value. In fact, through ApeCoin, we only received about 2% of the funds that the DAO allocated outward, but 5.3 times more projects went through us than through the entire DAO combined. 7 times more infrastructure projects, 7 times more culture projects, 2.8 times more governance projects. And, if somebody created something of value, like really significant value in ApeCoin, the high likelihood was that they did it through us. And the reason for that was very simple. The alternative path, which was going through like the AIP process, was really hard. You had to make a proposal, and you didn't just have to be a builder. You had to be a builder and a salesperson and a diplomat, and you had to be willing to go without being paid potentially for months at a time. And at the end of all of that, you might lose, right? You might not even be able to contribute. And, with the work that we did with ApeCoin, it was as simple as, we would sense into the needs of the DAO and give builders the opportunity to build now, to create value now. And talent got off the sidelines and started building. And, we've seen this over and over through the initiatives that we've run. We're super excited to help the cause with Sui. We believe very much, again, not just in terms of where Sui is going, but also what the chain is building. And so it should be a meaningful and fun adventure together. And we expect to create big things together.
Thanks, Daniel. Bryan, I want to go to you to continue on this thread of community building on chains and what tends to work. You've got a lot of experience here. So can you talk about what types of community building activities have worked well?
Yeah, I actually want to piggyback on Sae-Von's points about the steady state idea is something that I think about a lot. And as not to go down a deep rabbit hole, but kind of as a Korean American immigrant here, I think about my pathway and representing myself in the past 20 years of being in the United States and how the perception of Korea, I'm sure that many of you being on the internet know, has changed drastically through a lot of content and cultural aspects, such as, and to sound like overly generic here, with Squid Games and K-pop and such. It's really not necessarily the in-house Korean aspects that people remember Korea for, but more of the mass adoptive globalization aspects of culture that people are doubling down on, because at the end of the day, people relate sincerely to human aspects. So I would double down on that front and say that the communities that have been the greatest have both done a great job of balancing digital aspects and integrating technology, but also really just embracing the human aspects of in real life events, conversations like this on Spaces, quote unquote, exposing themselves explicitly towards community members and really curating that community. And on a tangible front, hopping on Spaces, hosting events, handing out merch, doing something that feels like a collective that is united by asset ownership, which is enabled by blockchain technology, that really doubles down on NFT communities thriving and thinking well on behalf of the Sui ecosystem. So I would say that much like how countries or if not companies do it in embracing and enlarging their ethos and spreading their good word, I think almost religiously you're going to want to make people feel like they're a part of something by continuing to doubling down on the cultural aspects of that community. So I think I encourage projects to think really outside the box, and of course the bare minimums of having a Twitter page and a Discord and all these things are necessary. But in fact, the best communities I've seen are those that actually enjoy being with each other and doubling down on a niche that they relate to together, so that there's a need and a reason for them to continue to come back to these chats and meet up in real life and use Web3 more as a tool set rather than the focus itself for creating the vibrant communities themselves.
Those are great points, Bryan. And I just want to quickly ask you, or get a quick response here, is what would be your advice to people that want to engage in ThinkSui? Like, how should they start?
Yeah, I mean, I think the focus, at least personally for me, the way that I see it is to increase dialogue and in some ways create friction. I want this to serve as an opportunity where people question the value of Sui and why they need to be on Sui. It's not supposed to be overly optimistic. Everyone just celebrates everything, forcing narratives down the throat kind of thing. This is supposed to be a good top line funnel for people to come in and view what this is very objectively. And I think that it happens to have a reward component that allows people to enjoy it while they're here. So I want it to be more of a challenging opportunity for people to really feel incentivized, but more so to assess the network fully and allow them to stay if they want to stay. And I'm made to believe, as someone that has been building on Sui and understands what their long-term vision is, that it will work out for them. But I think it's more of a amusement park that we're setting up that you guys are willing to understand. And I would almost compare it to Disneyland, where the rides are fun, but you want to have them really believe in Mickey Mouse and the Marvel Universe at the end of the day. And for that to happen, I think people need to really dig down and have these conversations about it, so that we can build correctly for the right audience and have it really be a dynamic experience beyond just being the NFTs being dynamic themselves.
Yeah, thanks, Bryan. It's kind of the message is challenge yourself. If you're getting on ThinkSui, you're thinking of following one of these paths for rewards, start challenging yourself to do really interesting things. I want to bring in Martin here from Thrive. Martin, can you talk about any specific Web3 domain like DeFi or games that you're particularly interested in driving excitement around?
Absolutely. And so I think this is a great time just to focus on sort of what individuals here can do and look forward to. We focus a lot on two particular domains: builders and content creators. And what do I mean by builders? I mean, anyone who builds on Sui, whether you're an NFT collection developer, if you're building infrastructure dApps, if you're building games, you would fit in that builder category. And that's something, as long as you're building directly on Sui and you can show your idea, you're a builder. The other group is content creators. And so anyone who loves to dig in and create Sui educational or fun content for the community, that's you. So if you are, you're making YouTube videos, you're putting up really educational mirror articles or X threads, like you're a content creator. And so I wanted to answer that question also by just stopping for a moment and giving everyone a chance to earn their first $1 with ThinkSui. So I pinned a post to the top of this space. And so I'm going to go through for everybody step by step very quickly how you can connect to ThinkSui and earn your first dollar for participating in this space. So I want everyone to just quickly go up to the top, click on the ThinkSui post that says, thanks to everyone who joined us at the X Space on February 6th. Give ThinkSui a follow, and then log in and then retweet that tweet. And you can either quote post it or repost it. But once you finish listening, because I want you all to stay on here and hear from everybody, after this space is over, sign up with your Sui wallet if you don't have one. And if you do, jump into ThinkSui.com. Connect your Sui wallet to ThinkSui.com and go into the network connections. Connect your X account to your ThinkSui.com profile. And that will give you $1 for in Sui tokens, payable in Sui tokens, for retweeting this tweet and for being in the space. And only those that retweet from now until the end of the hour will be eligible, because we want you to be here. And so this is just one of those top line, easy to do things that anyone can do. And that gets you in the door. That gets you into ThinkSui. And following that, I just want to kind of outline sort of the ways that you can get involved. Following that, Daniel already from the ThriveCoin account had explained, but you had to go back to ThinkSui.com. Every 2 weeks, we'll be releasing a new batch of contributions. And a lot of those contributions anyone can do. And if you happen to fall into that builder or content creator category, well, we have tons more. You'll be eligible to earn upwards of $13,000 for building a builder project that wins our Best of Builder Project Awards. And there's so many opportunities. We're going to be putting out tons of information on the ThinkSui X account. That's why you got to give them a follow. There's going to be tons of information coming out over the next 3 weeks. The deadline to apply for a project idea is February 29th, end of this month. And so what you'll see linked to each of the contribution listings in ThinkSui.com is a really helpful submission guideline that'll walk through it. But as I mentioned, we're going to be dripping this out piece by piece over the next 3 weeks. We're going to be hosting X Spaces on ThinkSui. We're going to be getting into local communities inside Sui and outside of Sui. We're going to be getting people excited, because what we want to activate that community, as Sae-Von and Bryan were talking about. We want people to come in here and see the amazing, sort of incredible stuff that the Sui network has put out in Sui Foundation and Mysten Labs and everyone building on Sui. And we want people to see, like, hey, look, you can earn a little bit of Sui, to get your project started. If you finish your project, you hit your critical milestone, you'll get more. If you are one of the top projects that are come out of these next 3 months with ThinkSui, you'll get even more. There's just so many opportunities for you to show your stuff, and we're super, super excited. And so thanks, Wei. Yeah. That's a little bit about what the process is and what are some specific things that will drive excitement this season.
Great, Martin. Appreciate that. Really ran through the exact process people need to do, and that was a very useful download. We're just about at time here, so I want to finish up. So let's get final thoughts from everybody. Daniel, do you want to just give any final thoughts you have about the project?
Yeah, look, I'm super excited for the launch of this thing. Thank you so much for having me here. It means a lot. I also am excited, like Bryan, for people to enter into the conversation. And the easiest way to be a part of that conversation is to make sure that you've gone to ThinkSui.com, connected your wallet, and then keep coming back. There will be lots of opportunities for you to make a difference and for you to be a part of a growing community. And we're excited for you to be here. So look forward to the follow-on X Spaces as we get deeper and as we announce some of these projects and as we see some of these projects get built. So that should be a lot of fun too.
Great. Thank you, Daniel. Bryan, do you want to give some final thoughts?
Yeah, I think perhaps as the non-Thrive and non-Mysten/Sui person, I'll give some blunt thoughts here and say that we've ran incentive programs, or actually currently running one on Avalanche, our third chain. I think there's a lot of dynamicness that goes on, and you can't really satisfy everyone. That's something that you just got to learn and move on with any industry. I am interested to see how this pans out, and ultimately you don't want folks to game the system and really lead to organic content. And again, I apologize for continuously using the corporate buzzword of top line funnel, but I think this largely is supposed to open up dialogue and bring in people that haven't been interested or known about Sui before, and then getting them to stay once they double down into the city state and understanding that there's value to staying here without the incentives in place. So not out of skepticism, but more out of wishing the best. And obviously, as a core contributor to this effort, I look forward to being that community voice for everyone. So happy to be here. And if anyone has feedback that they would like the Thrive Coin or ThinkSui program to be heard, my DMs are open.
Thank you, Bryan. And Sae-Von, do you want to give some final thoughts about community and ThinkSui?
Sure thing, Wayne. Everybody who's already been here, thank you. Thank you for bringing your thoughts, your ideas, your passion, for hanging in throughout this entire period. Please stay creative. Try things, right? Get creative. Think outside of the box and go for it. Just go for it. That's all I got.
Great. Thanks, Sae-Von. And Martin, any final thoughts?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, go to ThinkSui.com, check out the guidelines doc. You'll see that if you click on progress and details on each of the contributions, you'll see that link, and we'll post that also on ThinkSui X account. But go into that, dig into that. You'll see that there's a very clear path to how to submit your project. And as I mentioned, builders and content creators. There's an example list of projects at the back of that document. It talks about the types of builder projects that could be built. That's developing NFT art collections, NFT ticketing dApps, gaming dApps, music dApps, infrastructure dApps. If you are, and it talks a little bit about some of the types of critical milestones that we'd be looking for, and what you might want to hit if you are one of those builders. It talks about content creator projects, some ideas of specific content that could be created as part of this, interviewing folks about different types of different builders on Sui, why NFTs on Sui are radically better, what's the promise of Sui, what's its origin story, and then a bunch of other ideas about how to hit critical milestones for content creator projects. And I'll end with this. If you have questions, there's an FAQ that you can get to. It's in the doc, but you go to support.thrivecoin.com. There's a ThinkSui specific FAQ. And then there's 3 ways to reach ThinkSui. The first way is go to thinksui.com. You'll never forget that. Said it like 10 times. Open a ticket by clicking on the Thrive bot in the bottom right-hand corner of thinksui.com. You'll get the ThinkSui team directly. Second, go to the Sui Network Discord server. There is a ThinkSui channel. Ask your question there. We have Thrive folks that are going to be monitoring that all the time. We'll actually be announcing some office hours as well. So keep in mind, look out for that. And third, send a DM to ThinkSui on X. We're always, our DMs are open. We would love to talk to you. You have questions about anything whatsoever. These are the best 3 ways to reach us. And you can also reach me personally. This is Martin at Lexicon, and hit me up here. But thank you for listening. I know it's a lot of information, but as I mentioned, we will be going into it over the next 3 weeks before the deadline to submit project ideas on February 29th. Thanks, Wayne.
Great. Thank you, Martin. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will be conducting regular X Spaces about Sui in the community. So pay attention to our Sui Network account on Twitter. And thanks again.